Hello again, everyone. It's great to be with you. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Today's gospel for the first Sunday of Advent is from Matthew 24. Jesus said to the disciples, "About that time and hour no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. For as the days of Noah were, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in the days before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing until the flood came and swept them all away. So too will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then two will be in the field, one will be taken and one will be left. Two women will be grinding meal together, one will be taken and one will be left. Keep awake, therefore, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. But about that day and hour no one knows, Jesus says. I hear those words and I can't help but remember days and hours about which I did not know and could not know. The day and hour I saw Kelly for the first time. The day and hour she said yes to being my wife. The day and hour my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer. The day and hour I left the Episcopal Church. The day and hour I stood before Bishop Chris and was ordained. The day and hour you all called me to be your pastor. The day and hour I visited my mom in the hospital for the last time. The day and hour about which we do not know comes to us in 1,000 different ways. It comes to us as an unexpected gift, an unwanted loss, an unimaginable future, a dream come true. Regardless, we have no way of knowing when, how, or if it would come, and we had no way of knowing what it would bring. Despite our best efforts to plan and prepare for the future, we live in the midst of uncertainty and not knowing. There are days and hours that take us completely by surprise, some in good ways and some in not so good ways. I've told you some of mine, now tell me some of yours. Tell me about the day and hour about which you did not and could not know. What was the day and hour that took you by surprise or caught you off guard? What happened on that day and in that hour that you never expected, wanted, or could have imagined? The day and hour of uncertainty and not knowing is what Advent is all about. Advent isn't just a season in the church year. It describes our life. The seasons of the church year are a lens through which we see and can reflect on our lives. Advent, whether in the church or in life, always begins with the day and hour about which we do not know. Nobody knows when, where, or how that day or hour will come. It is unforeseeable and unpredictable. It comes, Jesus says, like a thief in the night or a sweeping away flood. Every year, the gospel for the first Sunday of Advent sounds ominous and threatening. We call these texts apocalyptic, and we tend to hear them as end times, end of the world text. That's often how it feels when life is uncertain, the future unpredictable, and when we are powerless to control what comes next. It can feel like the world as we know it is ending. But in today's gospel, Jesus is not predicting the end of the world. He's talking about how to live in the face of impermanence and changes that are neither predictable or controllable. Impermanence and uncertainty characterize today's gospel. It begins with the day and hour about which we do not know and ends with the unexpected hour. And everything in between is about not knowing. Jesus speaks about not knowing 5 separate times. We do not know the day, the part of the night, or the hour in which it, whatever it is, will happen. What we do know is that it, whatever it is, happens in the ordinariness of life, eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, working in the fields and grinding meal. And that makes me wonder if we've misunderstood what apocalypse really is. What if apocalypse is not about some unknown day in the future, but about today and every day? Maybe every day is an apocalypse. Maybe we are always living in apocalyptic times. Take a look at our world today. Read the news. If there is a theme to be identified, it is uncertainty, not knowing, a feeling of chaos and powerlessness. So what if apocalypse is not about the grand finale, the end of the world, but about living in the midst of uncertainty and unknowing, living with the unpredictability of the future, living in the midst of chaos? Apocalyptic days and hours are difficult ones. Life feels chaotic and out of control. We often don't know what to say, and sometimes we don't even know what to pray. Questions abound and answers are few and far between. Explanations neither satisfy nor make sense. That day and hour is not so much about what is happening in our head, but what is happening in our heart, that deep place where the mystery of God and our own life meet. The question then is not about the end of the world, but about how we live with uncertainty, not knowing, and powerlessness. So, what does faithfulness look like in those times? How do we live in the midst of impermanence? Where is our center on that day and hour? The challenge of Advent, of that day and hour about which we do not know, is to cultivate what the poet John Keats called negative capability. Negative capability is the ability to sustain uncertainty, to live with not knowing, to stand in the mystery, to keep the questions and possibilities open, to embrace ambiguity, to not be too quick to resolve or shut down doubt, and to do all of that without running away and trying to escape, without grasping for facts and reason, without blaming others and justifying ourselves. I think that's what Jesus is getting at when he says we are to keep awake, to be ready. Keep awake and be ready for what? I wish I could tell you, but I don't know. You see, it's the day and hour about which no one knows. The best I can tell you is to keep awake and be ready for whatever comes and what doesn't come to you. In essence, it is the unfolding of your life. While these days and hours are unpredictable, unknown, and impermanent, they do not diminish life. In fact, they intensify life. They heighten its value and deepen its meaning. They open us up to the possibility of the impossible. I like to say that. And it's the possibility and impossible of life and more life. In the end, everything matters. So we must keep awake, be ready, because we don't want to miss a single moment. And all God's blessed people say, Amen. Have a wonderful week.